All right, theme song. 3, 2. Oh, hold on. All right, theme song. 3, 2. Welcome back to Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. I'm your host, Chad White. If you didn't know, this is the Late Night Show. And welcome back to Late Night Lately, the Late Night Show. Like I just said, I'm your host, Chad White. It's a website. If you didn't know, this is the Late Night Show. On a website, signalscom.com. Like I just said, let's hear. It's a website. Go there. Hey, I've got a. This week, President Donald Trump gave the longest State of the Union address at 107 minutes. Some of the things that I previous record, which was set by him during last. This week, President Donald Trump gave the longest State of the Union address. By next year's, he'll be pressing in on Marvel previous record times set by him during last week's facsimile of Samuel L. Jackson minutes. By next year's, he'll be pressing in on Marvel movie runtime, so expect to see the rights facsimile of Samuel L. Jackson appear during the credits to recruit for the dumbass Avengers. During the speech, Trump berated Democrats for not standing on 3 separate occasions when their Republican colleagues did. He called them crazy for not doing so. Trump berated Democrats for not standing on 3 separate occasions when their Republican colleagues did. He called them crazy for not doing so. The men's U.S. hockey team appeared at the State of the Union after their overtime win at the Winter Olympics. They partied with FBI Director. The men's U.S. hockey team appeared at the State of the Union after their overtime at McDonald's. Meanwhile, they partied with FBI Director Cash Patel. Trump gave them Vegas for men a dinner at McDonald's. Who's the real winner? Women's hockey team are getting a weekend-long party at Vegas from Flavor Flav. So look at that McDonald's. Who's the real winner? Oh, delicious. I mean, if it's anything, it's them. Trump awarded 5 awards at the State of the Union, including 2 military pilots and 1 hockey player, which feels a lot like Trump awarded 5 McDonald's at the White House after being in 2 military pilots and 1 hockey player, which feels a lot like eating during the speech McDonald's at the White House after being in Milan, Italy. Yeah, it's because you're not ordering any more McDonald's. During the speech, Trump said beef, egg, and chicken prices surge pricing. Yeah, it's because you're not ordering any more McDonald's. Wherever Air Force One lands, the media area works a lot. Like see the Uber surge pricing when you're around. Whenever Air Force One lands, the immediate area, you're definitely getting a late night Big McDonald.
Oh, you did such a good job.
You know what?
With that speech,
I take what I said back. You're definitely getting a late night Big McDonald. Xbox has a new CEO and CCO, and this is what they look like. Oh. Dang, it looks like we're stuck in a Windows. Xbox has a new CEO and CCO, and this is what they look like. Oh. Dang, and finally, Bill Gates acknowledged his affairs and apologized to his staff at the Gates Foundation, and we have exclusive video. Finally, Bill Gates acknowledged his affairs and apologized to his staff at the Gates Foundation, and we have exclusive video. That's the monologue. Oh, God. Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry about the last joke, the delivery of the last joke. That's the monologue. Oh, my gosh. Would you go watch that? I messed up. The last joke, the delivery of the last joke, with the GIF. I just said, go watch the video. I came in under this time. The last time I messed up the delivery of the last joke. I was at 4 minutes at that point. I just said, restart it. I came in under deliver it more quickly. Last time it was 4 minutes. I was at 4 minutes. Welcome back in. It's been a couple of weeks. Get in there. Let me deliver it more quickly because late night was off. Welcome back in. It's been when I see that on the RSS. I did this RSS feed. When I see that on the RSS feed, I go, it was off for so weeks. Climb up. When I see that on the RSS feed, when I see that on the RSS, that's how it's going to be when Colbert leaves. Climb up. I went. Man, also this week we're going to do the show. I watched more Colbert than I've watched in the last 2 years. That's how it's going to be when Colbert leaves. Also, this week, I watched more Colbert than I've watched in the last 2 years. To what happened this week in late night. It was everybody returned. And to what happened this week in late night. Just what feels like the beginning. It was everybody returned, but it feels like and winter. We saw at this point just what feels like the beginning. I know it's not Sweeps Week, but it feels like. For the Tonight Show on Jimmy Fallon, he had just so many likes of Tracy Morgan, so many and he for the Tonight Show, Campbell Fallon performed Strategy, which is Tracy Morgan, a song that if you haven't heard, and he also had Nev Campbell twice performed Strategy, which is he played Pictionary with. If you haven't heard, some people from Survivor as well. Courtney Cox, Morgan Freeman appeared. He played Pictionary with. Was there some people from Survivor as well? I don't know who that is. Morgan Freeman appeared. Tell me lies. Mike White. Carter Faith performed, Jackson White, and Priyanka Chopra Jonas. I was watching that episode this morning, and the moment she popped performed, and Priyanka Chopra Jonas. I was watching that episode this morning. And the moment she popped up on screen, I'm just so angry at my life. Damn, that's beautiful. Bobby Cannavale was there, and Casey Shorna performed stand-up. I'm just so angry at my life. For Bobby Cannavale was there, and Casey Shorna he had several closer looks. His buddy John Oliver was there. Ben Marshall for Late Night with Seth Meyers was there. And he had several with a giant jacket. His buddy John Oliver was there. Ben Marshall, if you go look at his Instagram, was there. He did make a bit with snow because they couldn't send a car to 30 Rock. And also, if you go look at his Instagram, he did make a video about walking through the snow because they couldn't send a car to 30 Rock. And also, he works. It's very funny. It's a very funny video. Just a video on top of this. So if you didn't see that video, then it's very funny. Only saw the very funny video. Just a video on top of. But if you saw the video, so if you didn't see that video, then you only saw the interview. We saw the Schollywood minute return, and that's just another great. A couple of minutes of bashing. We saw the Schollywood minute return. Friend of the show. I've spoken to Tony Shalhoub. Friend of the show, Tony Shalhoub was there. Tony Shalhoub did another, and friend of the show. This happened to Tony Shalhoub. Friend of the show, Tony Shalhoub was there. They did another, and they're fun. This happens with Jimmy Kimmel Live, and if this allows for these late night shows to continue to pay people, let them do it. They're fun. Jenny Slate, Michael, if this allows for these Vignola shows to continue to pay people, Lizzo, Jack Shane, and Jenny Slate, Michael Vignola cooked, Lizzo, John Hamm, Jack was Shane, there as well, and Anderson. And Paak. It feels like there's more closer looks this week than ever. I say Paak because of the State of the Union. John Hamm was there as well, and Anderson Paak. On Jimmy Kimmel Live, Taylor Tomlinson came in to talk about her late night, her special, excuse me. On Jimmy Kimmel Live, Applegate appeared, which was so wonderful to talk about. She has a new book out, and her special. We know that Christina Applegate appeared, which was so wonderful to see, and she has a new book out, and MS. We know that it's wonderful to see her getting out there and not being confined to her house. Like I believe she said that she was never going to act again. It's wonderful to see her house, but getting out there and not being confined to her house. Like I believe bringing awareness to that she was never going to act again and just not going to. Arlo Parks performed. Glad that she's Linda Perry also performed. There's also a wonderful conversation. This audience did performed, even though they spent 40 minutes clapping. There's also a wonderful conversation. This audience did not. I make fun of Kimmel now, even though they spend 40 minutes clapping. I don't feel bad, but I do think it's funny. During Kimmel, see now I make fun of Kimmel now, and I spoke to one of his writers, and I don't feel bad. I don't think that. Let me finish up. Pod Save America, Jason Bateman, Chloe Kim, Dave and Benny. I don't think that. Let me finish out the week. Pod Save America, Jason Bateman, Chloe Kim. Pod Save America. This conversation Benny Blanco was so interesting, especially it was a conversation. Pod Save America. This conversation State of the Union was so interesting, especially it was a conversation following this State of the Union, which I believe Jimmy. Well, I assume for Kimmel his was live. The Late Show with Stephen Colbert. But he said during his monologue that it was still going on. Well, I assume for Kimmel, it's like we had to start shooting the show, which is so funny. But he said during his monologue that it was. Still going on. It's like we had to start shooting. I like it when Kimmel can get serious and have a serious conversation. Like when he talked to Mike Lindell. I like it when Kimmel can get serious. He also did have a serious conversation, like when he talked to. But whenever he's able to sit down and actually Hunter Biden talk, he also did and have an interview. He's good at it because whenever he's able to sit down and actually, I just wish and have an interview. He's good at it because obviously he worked in radio for years. Would let I just wish and not have these producers have the audience chime in on Jimmy Kimmel Live. I think we just need to have a let the host and not have these Pod Save America have the audience great because it was a conversation between five guys. We just need to have a little bit more when it comes to late night. And this Pod Save America interview was great because it was a conversation between five guys, and they were just talking about. I'm sorry. And they were talking about what happened during the speech, and they were just talking about the union of this union that we all live in. And they were talking about what happened during the speech, didn't know what to do with themselves, and the state of the union. I'm sure that they were and you can hear like in this audience didn't know what to do with
like
themselves because
of single claps.
You know, I'm sure that they were
often.
like there were. And you can hear like
this is what happens when you have a conversation.
You're not just
of single claps out there.
You're sitting there. You're discussing. This is what happens when you have a conversation. You're sitting there. You're discussing.
Because my big problem with
something that is important.
Jimmy Kimmel's
you're not just
monologue
being
and Colbert's
because my big problem with
show in general is that
Jimmy
they just make
Kimmel's
statements
monologue,
and then people start and the Daily Show too, and people
Colbert's
start
monologue.
clapping.
Yeah, Colbert's show
Instead of laughing. We're not
they just make
like
statements
there's
and then people
a
start
lack
and
of
the Daily
jokes
Show too
across the
people
board.
start
Whereas you
clapping.
watch
Instead of laughing,
late
we're not,
night,
and there's
sometimes
a lack of jokes across the board.
Whereas
you're
watch
not being explained to. You're
Tonight
getting,
Show
you're
and
getting
late night
jokes
and
along with
the explanations
that you're not being explained to. You're getting
just
jokes.
Let the hosts
the explanations.
The best thing I can say about this is let the hosts. Just let them tell jokes. Let the hosts, and that's all we need.
The best thing I can say about this is let the hosts let them tell jokes.
Let the host host,
and that's all.
Because
we
this
need.
20-minute conversation was
something just happened. Hold on.
Okay, it's exactly what this audience needs.
Let the host
sitting there
because this 20-minute conversation was just.
It's exactly what this
why do you
audience
do
needs.
this?
Why do you still do this? Because
hollering after everything.
I like watching late night.
In the same way, why do you do
when
this?
I complain about Peloton,
why
when
do
they
you
step
still
up
do
on
this?
their little
Because
pedestals and they talk down to the audience.
I like watching late night.
The audience. They talk.
See this thing.
They
When I
talk
complain
down
about
to
Peloton
the
when they
people
step up on their
taking
little
classes.
pedestals.
Teach and they talk
Anyway,
down to the audience.
For late show, Ray Romano popped up.
See this thing.
They talk down to the people taking classes.
No, just
they
teach.
aired the
questionnaire
for late show. Ray
Emma
Romano
Thompson.
popped up.
I don't think I've ever seen a questionnaire. I think I've seen like 2 seconds.
They aired
Michelle
the
Obama
questionnaire for Emma Thompson.
I
don't think I've ever seen a questionnaire. I think I've seen like 2 seconds. Like
John
Michelle
Dickerson
Obama
was the guest for the State of the Union live episode.
Ray Romano
Mitski performed, John Dickerson was the guest for the State of the Union live episode.
Mitski performed, and you know what? I'll say that State of the Union episode.
Let's see.
Was good.
A writer pitched herself to the world. And I don't understand the bit.
A writer pitched herself
just not for
to the
me.
world, and I don't understand
This is so
the
bad.
bit.
When I started when
not for me.
when I watched that clip,
This is so bad.
and she
When
pitched herself
when I
for for dating, and
when I
just went,
watched
she'll be fine.
that
Which is
clip.
Tiana
She
Taylor,
pitched
Bradley
herself,
Whitford,
I guess, for
Kurt
work
and
for
Wyatt
dating, and I just
Russell,
went, she's
which
white,
is it's just great to see them together.
Tiana
Although
Taylor, Bradley
there's a spin-off
Whitford,
and C-Mac
there's a
Kurt
spin-off
and Wyatt
of,
Russell,
which is it's just great to see them together.
The Monarch
Although we
show
don't,
on
there's a
Apple TV,
spin-off
which is a
and
spin-off
C-Mac
of
performed.
the
There's a
Godzilla
spin-off
and
of
King Kong
the
movies. And
the-
it's going
the
it's
Monarch
just going to
show
be
on
starring
Apple TV,
Wyatt
which is a
Russell.
spin-off of the
We don't
Godzilla
need the
and
young,
King Kong movies.
that young version of
and
that
it's
character.
it's
running
just
around
going to be
doing
starring
whatever it
Wyatt
is.
Russell, and we don't need that. We don't need.
We
the
get it.
young.
On the Daily Show, Jon
version of
Stewart
that
came back
character
on
running
Monday.
around doing whatever. it is.
A. Michelle Dickerson was
We get
his interview guest.
On the Daily
And
Show,
Desi
Jon
Lydic
Stewart
took over
came back
hosting
on
duties
Monday.
for the rest of the week. She spoke to
A. Michelle
Dickerson
Dickerson was
Jonathan
his
Haidt and Catherine
interview
Price.
guest. Then Desi
and
Lydic
Krista
took over hosting
Miller.
duties for the rest of the week. She spoke to
Padma
Padma
Lakshmi, and then we had appearances by
Catherine
Costa,
Price,
Jordan Klepper,
and Krista
and
Miller.
Grace Kudenschmidt.
On
Last Week Tonight,
and
he
then
covered
we had
John
appearances
Oliver
by
covered
Michael
Twitter.
Costa, Jordan Klepper, and Grace Kludenschmidt.
Anyway,
On Last Week Tonight,
That's it.
he
That was
covered
everything
John
that
Oliver
happened this week on
covered
Late Night.
Twitter.
for the main story, we've got this thing from the Hollywood
Anyway.
Reporter. It's about
That's it.
Taylor
That was everything
Tomlinson.
that happened this week on
She's
Late Night.
back where she started.
For the main
by
story,
My
we've got
Chemical
this thing from the Hollywood Reporter.
I'm
It's about
older
Taylor
than
Tomlinson. She's back where she
I am
started,
learning
written by
this
Mikey O'Connell. I'm older than Taylor Tomlinson.
The reason I
learning
picked this
this
up
now.
is because hold on, I have to find it. I have to find the quotes.
The reason I picked
spoke
this up
about is
after
because
midnight
because Mikey asked her about
I have
it.
to find
and
it. I have to find
we
the
all
quotes.
know that the decision
she
that
spoke
she
about
decided to
after midnight
move
because,
on
Mikey
from the
asked her
show
about it,
because she
and
wasn't.
We all know
she
that
wasn't a late
the
night host.
decision
wanted
that she decided to
essentially what
move
she said.
on
Hey, I
from
don't,
the show
I don't want to do this, but
because
she
she
continue the
wasn't.
show.
This just she wasn't a late night host. She didn't want to. That's
She,
essentially what she said. Hey,
this is
I'm
what
not on this,
Mikey
but you should
asked.
continue
I
the
understand that it is financially a very tough model to work with, but when there's still such a level of prestige and
this is
quality,
what Mikey asked. I understand that it is financially a very tough model to work with, but when there's still
she responded, it's interesting how the argument is like nobody wants to watch people talk. People are watching hours of people talking on podcasts, on YouTube, and now Netflix.
She responded, it's interesting how the argument is like nobody wants to
because
talk.
You go to some studios and it is a podcast on YouTube and now Netflix.
I've been doing all these podcasts and it's so interesting too because you go to some studios.
I don't know. If executives are saying people don't want to talk, then that's an insane. Or people don't want to watch people talk. That's an insane notion.
I don't know. It's if
we've had talk shows.
If executives are saying people don't want to talk, then that's
people love
hearing. People don't want to watch people talk,
especially when
that's
an insane
notion. We've had talk shows for decades. People love seeing other people talk.
Now, on the show itself, she said something very important that I thought is smart to point out.
Now, on the show itself, she said something very important that I thought is.
She said it's sort of a muddy timeline because a decision had been made to be renewed, but I didn't know that. So she made her decision to leave, and the show.
She said it's sort of a muddy timeline because a decision had been made to be renewed, but I didn't know that. So she made her decision to leave, and the show was already.
So it wasn't as simple as they told us you're being renewed, and I went, no, thank you. That's not
those things happened separately. So it wasn't as simple as they told us you're being renewed, and I went, thank you. That's not what happened, which I don't think was. That's not something that I believed that happened.
She said that show was so much fun to do. The writers' room was amazing. They came up with different games and jokes for different people every episode.
She said that show was so much fun to do. The writers' room was amazing. They came up with different games and jokes
where I was touring. I was doing press for the show. I was doing the show, and I had some health stuff going on.
It reached a point.
I just couldn't do both. This is very important.
Anymore. Where I was, touring.
I so badly wanted.
I was doing press for the show. I was
doing
the show, and I had
because I think there's so many comedians who
I just couldn't do both things anymore. I so badly wanted them to just
they
hire
did
someone
something
else to
in a similar fashion.
So many comedians who would have been absolutely amazing hosts for that show.
And
they've done
Craig Ferguson.
They did something in a similar fashion.
James Corden taking over. They just had different hosts every single week. And I understand
Craig Ferguson left.
It costs
James Corden
some money to
they just had
run
different
that late night show. But
again, I understand
so many times
it costs
that show after midnight
some money to run that late night show.
But again, I've
spoken about this so many times.
You know what? The games were fun.
After midnight,
I wasn't a fan of the audience, which
was so cheap and so flimsy, and it looked like
audience.
But
and you know what?
The games were fun.
I don't want people. I don't. We're not to say.
I have such an
the performer and the audience needs to stay separate too. But
I don't want people. I don't.
With after midnight, they could have done a similar thing.
The performer
and the audience needs to stay separate. But people
with after midnight, they could have done a similar thing
and just do
and just
pay people 4 different people
come in and
because
host
you have 3 contestants and 1 host
and just do
4 different people per week. And
just
instead of having 3 different comedians every
4 different people,
just do like a week of those
3
same
contestants
people,
and 1 host.
Have them switch in and out
per week
and see
who's instead of having
who wins the most
3 different
points
comedians every single night,
just do like a week of those same people. Boom.
Have them switch in and out.
Do something fun because now they have that
who wins the most points by the end of the night or by the end of the week,
and
boom.
You know who is
do something fun because now they have that Byron
Allen
up for a story
back.
So I heard that
you really like seeing the Orioles play.
Byron Allen set somebody up.
You like eating Oreos with the Orioles, right?
So I heard that
that
you really like seeing the Orioles play.
You like
eating Oreos with the Orioles, right?
And it's unfortunate
that
they didn't go in that direction because in the 2 seasons we got it to a format that CBS seemed to feel
and it's unfortunate.
It's a very different show than
they didn't go in that direction because in the 2 seasons we got it to a format that CBS seemed to feel good about. It's a very different show than the one that I signed on for, and I was really happy with and proud of where we all got. The hardest decision I ever made professionally.
Again, I still think that show could be on today, and paired with Colbert show, and paired with all of these other late night shows. I
still think that show could be
something
on
that
today,
stood out from the pack.
Colbert
and
show,
and I've all of these other late night shows.
I think what they wanted
is something different.
What they expected
and something
was
that
to get
stood out from the pack.
Midnight numbers.
So was to get
or even to get core. I think what they wanted and what they expected was to get after midnight numbers. So was to get at midnight numbers of television. Or even to get cord numbers because that was even bigger than at midnight. But the problem with that is that we're in a new age of television. And
I'm sorry, I thought I heard Maverick throwing up. So I was just like, what am I saying right now?
And I'm sorry,
Mikey,
I thought I heard.
Is that the guy's name?
Maverick throwing up. So
Mikey says, what surprised me about the cancellation was that the
right
format seemed like a workable evolution for late.
Mikey's,
is that the guy's name? And so big.
Mikey says, what surprised me about the cancellation was that the
Taylor
format seemed like a workable evolution for late night.
And it was such a great opportunity for comics to get in front of a new audience and get a TV credit and make jokes in a way that didn't burn.
Taylor agreed.
So many,
and it was such a great opportunity for comics to get in front of
a new
audience
and get a TV credit. Some of them were big, and some of them are play recurring. So many comedians shows now
that appeared on the show. A lot of those comedians
were
some of them were big, and some of them
that you just didn't know
recurring characters
or you recognize
in a lot of
TV shows.
Oh,
now this person.
A lot of those comedians
who's
were
that? A young lady on
that you just didn't know, or you
Abbott
recognize them.
She plays.
Oh, well, now this person who's that? A young lady on
she's the tall one. But
Abbott Elementary.
You'd be remiss to know who she was prior to
counselor
after midnight.
She's the tall one.
She did. I'm not saying that she didn't work.
You'd be remiss to know who she was prior to.
She was a comedic person
after midnight,
doing other comedic work.
But I'm not saying that she
on a show
didn't
like
work
that,
before.
and then we see one Abbott Elementary
stand up.
Boom,
two to two.
Comedic person online or
doing other comedic work.
But then you
see them on a show like that, and then we see one Abbott Elementary go.
Who even on at
2 to 2. Let me follow that person online or whatever. But then you have the regular people you see all the time, like who were even on at midnight, like
what's his face from Reno 911. I can't.
Paul Scheer and Rob Hubel
and Reno,
the series producer
911.
Tom, what's his face?
It's Tom Lynn. And I didn't even have to finish. I didn't even have to press click.
Now I'm blanking.
And that's what happens. I press click. Everything comes.
It's Tom Lynn.
Everything.
I didn't even finish. I didn't even press click. And that's what happens. I press click. Everything comes.
Grateful.
Everything
when Colbert got canceled. I was like, "Holy shit! Really? How long would we have been on then?"
She says she's grateful, but when Colbert got canceled,
I do think
I was
that,
like, "Holy shit! Really?
That
how long
after midnight
we have been on
leaving? After midnight being canceled was a part.
I do think
why
that after midnight leaving after midnight being canceled was a part of why
doesn't matter.
Colbert was canceled. But
anyway, those were Taylor's comments regarding her time on After Midnight.
Anyway, that was
I feel like she's covered. I'm not kidding.
Regarding
she did 2 years
After Midnight.
And she made the decision to leave.
I feel like she's covered it.
I feel like
I'm not kidding.
She no longer.
She did 2 years.
Much to talk about, with the
exception. She made the decision.
Hey, it was a great thing we did. And
I feel like
different. It was something fun.
She no longer.
And again, I think
as much as I talk about,
dislike the audience.
Hey, it was a great thing we did.
As much as something different, I dislike the audience of any late night show.
And again, I think as much as
I do think that After
Midnight
Midnight was successful in doing
as much as
what it needed.
I dislike the audience of any late
night show. Differentiate itself.
I do think that After Midnight was successful
to make it
doing
its own name.
What it needed to do.
I mean, first of all,
and it did
After Midnight is a very
differentiate itself enough from
and then
to make it
its own. They're right. The panel show
first of all, After Midnight is a very funny name.
It's just a much better format. When I watched Graham Norton,
they're right. The panel show.
I'm much more interested in what people have to say. They seem like they're having fun.
It's just a much better format. When I watch Graham Norton.
It just seems like it's
I'm
more fun.
Much more interested in what people have to say. They seem like they're having fun.
6 total minutes with John Hamm, and we're just sitting there. And then
it just seems like it's more fun than
the host
getting
has to go and go. All right, that's it. We're done. Sorry.
Minutes with John Hamm, and we're just
that's why Fallon
as time ticks down
to me, because it's just
the host
he's having fun.
All right, that's it. We're done. Sorry. That's why. I think
Fallon. The more time we spend with a late night show,
he's having fun.
The better
he's being a little
can
silly
only
boy.
get over time. Look at Colbert show. He was show running.
The more time we spend with
when
a late night
was on
show,
for the first
the better
year or two.
It can only get over time.
He was show running it
at Colbert show. He was show running it,
and then eventually when they got a show running
for the
show
year or two, I think
became
he was show running it, hosting, executive producing it, and then eventually when they got a show,
I think Kimmel show
became,
and mind you, my first episode of Kimmel show was when Uncle Frank died. When I very, very distinctly remember.
And mind you, my first episode of
Jimmy Kimmel from the Man Show
was when
because I was watching reruns on G4.
I didn't. I very, very distinctly remember going like, oh, Jimmy Kimmel from the Man Show.
I wonder what he's hosting a show. Let me go see. Because at that point he'd been on for like what 7 years or something. And then his uncle Frank died.
Probably like the day before.
He's hosting a show.
Let me go see it because at that point he'd been on for like what 7 years or something. And then his uncle Frank died.
I watched that episode, and then I was
probably
like
the day before, and then I watched that video. I was like, oh, okay.
He's got a history of crying. That guy.
Maybe I'll watch the next one. I watched that episode.
But each show, look at Seth. Look at Late Show.
He's got a Late Show or Late Night?
Late Night. Where Seth eventually
each show,
figured out,
look at Seth. Look at
the show will be better.
Late Show. Is that Late Show or Late Night? Late Night.
And he did. He sat down during the monologue.
Seth eventually figured out, hey, I gotta sit down, and the show will be better.
So for After Midnight,
and he did. He sat down during the monologue.
A chance post Taylor Tomlinson to live a life.
So for After Midnight,
so much
if
better.
it was given
every TV show,
a chance,
even if it's a show I don't like, every TV show should get 2 seasons.
Live a life. It would have gotten so much better.
You don't
every
know what you're
TV show,
even if it,
and
even
then
if
a show,
every TV show
well in the
first
season,
then like, hey, you knew what you were doing.
Like this,
you don't know what you're doing
in the
first season.
And then if a show is doing well in the first season, then like, hey,
the first season is
good. Like
this, we can make it better, but the first season is good. So
Game of Thrones show,
to worry about
A Night of Seven Kingdoms.
But then you have a show like
Universal. Hey, the first season is good.
A show I watched,
and we can make it better.
But the first season is good, so you don't have to worry about much.
At least that show should at least get 2 seasons.
Universal Basic Guys. A show I watched.
All right, listen, I'm done.
3 seconds of.
If you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com.
At least that show should at least get 2 seasons.
Pretty much everything I've ever done.
All right,
listen,
want to see me talk.
If you like what you heard here, head to the website cpluscomedy.com where you can see pretty much everything.
Go to youtube.com/.
If you want to see me talk to
interviews,
people,
I just put out an interview with
the
great
comedian
Jackie Cation.
youtube.com/cpluscomedy.
We talked a lot about
the
stand-up and the state of the world.
I just put out an interview
so
with
go
the
there.
great.
If you want, that's where you can also see a video
Jackie Cation.
This show as well as the other podcasts.
We talked
LinkedIn Logs,
a
the Jobs
stand-up
podcast,
and
and
the
Constitutionals,
the
the entertainment business.
So go
there.
If you want,
That's
where you
can also
youtube.com/this
this
show as well as the other podcasts. LinkedIn Logs,
follow
Jobs
social media,
Constitutionals Comedy on YouTube, Instagram,
Blue Sky,
all that. YouTube.com/TikTok.
Subscribe to the podcast.
Me on the platforms at Chad Black White. Follow us on social media at C Plus Comedy on YouTube, Instagram, Blue Sky, and TikTok. Me on those platforms at Chad Black White. See you next time. Bye.